We all know the classic childhood defense. He did it first. It is an instinctual, almost reflexive way to deflect blame and avoid accountability. This childhood instinct survives well into adulthood, taking the form of what logicians term the two wrongs fallacy, or tu quoque, which translates to, you do it too. This diagram outlines how the fallacy operates. It occurs when an arguer rejects a criticism simply by accusing their critic of similar behavior or thinking. The critic projects a valid criticism, and instead of answering it, the arguer counterattacks. This violates a core rule of logic known as the rebuttal criterion. A strong argument must directly address and neutralize criticisms. It cannot ignore them. Deflecting an argument through an accusation does not resolve the original criticism. It leaves the core issue completely unaddressed, and the truth of the matter remains buried. Consider a common workplace dynamic. Thurman warns his colleague, Laura, that her habit of overworking is going to land her in the hospital. Laura deflects this legitimate medical warning by pointing out that Thurman works just as hard as she does. This flowchart maps Laura's logic. Premise 1, you criticize my habits. Premise 2, you share these exact same habits, which leads to her implicit conclusion. Therefore, I do not need to address your argument about my health. As a logical structure, this fails. Laura's deflection successfully shuts down Thurman in the moment, but it structurally fails to protect her from the actual physical danger of exhaustion. She wins the argument, but ignores a valid warning. Let's look at why this fallacy is so tempting to fall for. Imagine a father giving his son a scientifically sound lecture on the physical dangers of alcohol, how it dulls the senses and reduces physical control. But the father delivers this lecture while holding a glass of bourbon. He is a clear hypocrite. Here is the friction point. On the left, medical facts about alcohol. On the right, the father's behavioral hypocrisy. Does his hypocrisy alter the medical facts? It does not. Hypocrisy invalidates character, but has zero effect on the argument's logic. Facts are severed from behavior. Dismissing an argument just because the speaker is flawed is a dangerous trap. It blinds us to objective truths simply because we dislike the messenger. Let's test this with a skill acquisition scenario. A golf student is told by their professional coach that keeping their head down is the absolute most important part of the swing. During a tournament, the student notices the coach doesn't always keep her head down. How might the student commit the two wrongs fallacy in this situation? If the student uses the coach's inconsistency as an excuse to ignore the advice, they fail to learn a proven mechanical skill. Focusing on the coach's hypocrisy instead of the technique only sabotages the student's own progress. When someone hits you with a "you do it too" attack, your natural human instinct is to defensively deny the charge. But that is exactly the diversion the fallacious arguer wants. It pulls you off the topic. The mastery strategy is counterintuitive. Do the opposite. Explicitly admit the charge. Agree you struggle with the flaw. Set personal concerns aside. Say, my behavior isn't the topic. Let's look at the argument. Insist on evaluating the actual merits of the criticism. By removing your ego and admitting fault, you strip the two wrongs fallacy of its diversionary power. You close the escape route and force a return to rational discussion. To master the tu quoque fallacy, remember these steps. 1. Spot the diversion. 2. Separate the arguer from the argument. 3. Admit and pivot. Admitting your own inconsistency is the most effective conversational move to keep the search for truth on track.